Hey, welcome to SC Custom Designs, where we are working with, we're on a series where we're making bandsaw boxes. And don't be deceived by the word box. It's basically the shape you cut it out in. So essentially you join up wood like you see here. And if you can kindly follow my series called Making Bandsaw Boxes, or whatever the heck I called it. You basically join up stock like you see here. In this case, this guy was a table. And I really wasn't sure how I was going to make this guy into a bandsaw box. But I want to show you something pretty cool. We've done some work on this boring piece of wood. Ready? Now it wants to stay. How cool is that? So I just took some really boring wood, glued it up, and this is what became of it. How awesome is that? So this will be two bandsaw boxes. Now if we flip them down like so, of course, customers, if they want to get both of them, they can. So here are my drawers. I want to talk a little bit about the next part where we take it over to the bandsaw box. You're going to want to have an entry point and an exit point. And you want to put arrows, at least in my case, I put arrows in the suggested, must be thirsty, suggested direction that I want my blade to go in. But just know, the next step of the bandsaw box is to cut out the drawers, okay? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I need an entry point, which I'm going to enter here, and an exit point, which is going to be down here. Okay? That way, try to envision that I'm going to have to glue back the frame. All of this has to get glued back together. So you want to be consistent in the way you're cutting through the stock. It may sound confusing right now. I know it sounds confusing, and I'm the one that's doing it. How this is going to go back together. So essentially, you're going to have to glue the outside back together. Oh, I just saw what this guy is. He looks like a prairie dog. That's the cool thing about bandsaw boxes. What does he look like? Really not sure. Looks like a hand going, hey. So at any rate, we're going to go over to the bandsaw and we're going to start cutting this out. Now, my hopes and prayers are that I don't break this blade. This blade, if you've been following the series of me working with this specific piece, I just have used blades. And honestly, if you're what you want to with your blades, you don't want a lot of teeth per inch. And I have a lot of teeth per inch with this 1/8 inch or whatever this is. Okay. And if you're watching the video independently, you wouldn't know that I'm using a Carter stabilizer bearing there. You take your 3 bearings up here and down there. You move them out of the way. In this case, you got to remove the one that's here and put him in there. And basically your blade is set inside. You can see that little nick there. It's cut out in the bearing. It sets inside there, and you actually push this way against the blade, which is typically a no-no. All right. So we're going to go ahead and bring that over. I'll set the camera up over on this side, and hopefully you'll get a really good view of what's going on here. I'm going to be going very slow, so it's going to be a long video. All right. I'm going to pause you now. Okay, now the tricky part is going to be getting your blade out of the area here. Now, with the best results, you can drop the block down. And I stopped a little shy. I wasn't sure if I actually cut the box out, the drawer out or not. So, what I'm going to do, I was a little nervous that I was going to be breaking my blade. Bears repeating that the blade is very dull, and I have a lot of drawers to cut out. I did order more blades that'll be coming in, and they're less teeth per inch, which means the blade is going to be less prone to heat up. Okay, so let's see if we can get that drawer out. He is a little tight. These are some of the things that you might not see on other folks when they're making their bandsaw boxes, their episodes, simply because they don't want you to see these types of mistakes. But I have a different point of view when it comes to this. I'd rather you watched me and we learn together. So, all right, so there you go. Here is your first drawer. Pretty cool, hey? He's quite long, he's quite lengthy. So now we'll set that aside. We want to, and I recommend you give yourself breaks to let the blade cool down. All right, so now that we've got our first one cut out, we now can continue the journey to the next drawer. And I had determined that I was going to come down this way. Hopefully you can see this. Yeah, let's just leave it in here. And come around like this and then come up. But look at that turn. I'll probably break my blade if I make that type of turn, even though the Carter stabilizer is basically tells that you can do that type of thing. I just don't want to push it, okay? So while I had determined that's my direction, I'll rethink it. Shall I just come in over here? But if you do that, just know that gluing the outside of the unit back up can be quite tricky if you don't think this completely through. All right? But one way or another, I'll tell you what, I haven't made a bandsaw box yet that I couldn't put together and you wouldn't even know where those pieces came from each other, okay? So let's continue. I may come down in through here. I may come down, make the turn, okay? So there you go. We'll see what I'm going to do. So I thought I would spare you the compressor noise and all the wind down noises of the machines, and pause it. So I'm on my second drawer. We'll raise up the blade. We'll push it up and through. Hopefully it's, where's my little hammer? My convincer. Just give it a little bit of a knock. Just trying to be careful that I don't go too far this way, obviously, because we don't want to. All right, so we'll lift it up through like we did before. This can be quite tedious watching this type of thing. Hopefully I'll learn how to fast forward some of the parts so it's not so boring. All right, so now I need to determine, do I continue going down this way to cut out that drawer? Oh, and the word of caution is give yourself plenty of wiggle room. In other words, what I tend to do is the spaces that I have designated as the main part of the unit, right? I end up going on the inside of the drawer more with the blade, all right? Because what I don't want, oh look, now the kitty's down here. He was outside in the previous video because I was outside. Get! Wow! So, you know, the question is do I go keep alternating each side? Okay, so far we're going to be gluing this guy back up here, pushing against here. Do I want to keep going this way so that I could continue gluing, just pushing in this direction for all the pieces? You know. So that's what I have to figure out. We'll see what I end up doing.